All right, today we're tackling one of the biggest and, let's be honest, most frustrating limitations of Anthropic's Claude models, and that is its memory. Or, its total lack of one. In this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty brilliant open source solution that gives your AI a perfect, persistent memory.
Oh, you know this feeling. If you've ever used Claude for a project that lasts more than one session, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You come back the next day, you start a new session, and boom, the AI has absolutely no idea about the context, the decisions, or any of the details you hammered out yesterday. It's basically Groundhog Day for your project, and it gets old fast. Okay, so let's get into the weeds here. The core issue, the thing that causes all this frustration, is something we can pretty accurately call AI amnesia. It's because Claude sessions are, by design, stateless. Once that session ends, poof, everything is just gone. And this slide just lays out the cost perfectly. I mean, look at this. On the left, you've got your standard session. It forgets everything, it wastes your precious time, and this one's a big one. It burns through your tokens, forcing you to repeat all that context. That leaves way less room for the actual thinking and reasoning you want it to do. But on the right, that's the dream, right? A persistent memory that lets you do deep, efficient work. So the big question is, how do we get from that frustrating left side of the chart to the super powerful right side? Well, the solution is a really cool open source tool that was built to fix this exact problem. And it's called Claude Mem. Seriously, just think of it as a long-term memory upgrade for Claude Code. It's this open source plugin that just runs silently in the background, making sure your AI never, ever starts from a blank slate again. So how in the world does it work? Well, it's actually this beautiful three-step process. First, it just captures everything important, your tool usage, key decisions, all those little observations. Then, it compresses all that info down and stores it for you locally. And finally, and this is the real magic right here, it intelligently injects only the most relevant bits of that context back into your future sessions. Smart, right? Okay, that all sounds fantastic in theory, but talk is cheap. Does it actually work when the rubber meets the road? Let's take a look at a direct head-to-head comparison to see what kind of impact this thing really has. The test was pretty straightforward. Just give Claude a detailed prompt to build a complex, really high-end dashboard. They ran it once without Claude Mem, and then they ran the exact same prompt again, but this time with the plugin enabled. So the result without the memory plugin, well, it was okay. It was functional, but you could tell it was missing a lot. It missed key project-specific details, it had a bunch of little errors, and it just kept falling back on these generic, uninspired design patterns. It really didn't capture that high-end vision from the prompt and would have taken a ton of manual fixing to get right. And now look at this. This is what makes all the difference. With Claude Mem turned on, the AI remembered all the previous design decisions and tool usage. The result? A much cleaner, way more precise dashboard that followed all those complex rules and even included the specific signature features that were requested. I mean, the jump in quality is just undeniable. Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, I need this. And the best part is, this isn't some experimental tech that's years away. You can literally install it and start using it right now. So let's do a quick walkthrough of what you'll need. First off, there are a few prerequisites. You'll need Claude Code, obviously. Along with that, some pretty standard dev tools like Node.js and Bun, plus SQL3, which is what it uses to manage that local memory database. Pretty standard stuff. And once you have all that, the installation is incredibly simple. You just fire up Claude Code, run the plugin command, add the marketplace repository, find Claude Mem, and hit install. A quick restart, and bam, you are good to go. So let's talk about the real payoff here, because this isn't just about fixing a bug or an annoying flaw. This is about unlocking entirely new superpowers for Claude. First up, token savings. And this is huge. By not having to re-explain the entire context of your project every single time you start, you can save up to 95% of your tokens on that repetitive setup. Think about that. That frees up your entire token budget for what actually matters, high-quality reasoning and generation. And what do you do with that giant saved budget? Well, with its memory totally preserved, Claude can make up to 20 times more tool calls in a single session. This means it can start tackling vastly more complex tasks, the kind of stuff that requires tons of steps and interacting with a bunch of different tools.
And this quote just captures the power of this perfectly. This user fed ClaudeMem a whole catalog of their past work, their old landing pages. And because the AI could remember all of that context and style, it generated a brand new landing page in their unique personal style in one single shot. No more generic AI designs.
And on top of all that, it adds some seriously powerful new commands. You can search your entire project history just using natural language. You can even have Claude execute and create these complex, multi-step implementation plans. It really does transform it from just a chat tool into a true project partner.
So that brings us to the final and I think the most important question. Just think about your most ambitious projects, right? The ones that need deep context and a really consistent style from beginning to end. What could you really create if you had an AI partner that never, ever forgot?